Well, it's about 6:30 a.m. here in Sydney, Australia, and I want you to join me on an adventure today. Not on my bike, but a tea adventure. I'll tell you more on my journey. Gosh, I'd love to have a cup of tea right now on this gorgeous sunrise out at Botany Bay in Sydney. Do you know that tea is the second most drunk liquid in the world? Water is first, but tea is second. But listen to this. On any single day of the week, between 5 to 20 billion cups of tea will be drunk. How amazing is that? Behind me is Sydney International Airport. I'll be coming here in a few days' time with a group of 23 other people to catch a flight to the tea capital of the world. Well, I think it would be. And that's the ancient Ceylon, modern day Sri Lanka. Here we are. This is San Susi here. Beautiful spot. There's some beautiful apartments here. I'd love to live down here. The ubiquitous cup of tea, a humble drink popularised by the British from way back in the late 19th century, is enjoyed by people of all walks of life. That didn't used to be the case 130 plus years ago because it was fairly expensive. Just imagine, if you can, a world without tea. Wow. About to head home, and I thought I'd finish off the story of my adventure. Between 5 to 20 billion cups of tea are drunk every day around the world. That is amazing. And that, my friends, is all thanks to probably just one man, Sir Thomas Lipton. And you've all heard of Lipton tea. The true story of Lipton tea is a rags to riches tale of a young cabin boy who began working in his impoverished Irish parents' modest greengrocer's shop in Glasgow. But this was just the start of his journey, as he began to build a thriving empire that would in many ways rival the modern supermarket chain, Aldi. And it all began with just a humble cup of tea. So grab your cuppa, add a tea bag, pour in some hot water and some milk and sugar if you wish, and let's talk about it. Thomas Lipton was born in 1848 to Irish parents in Glasgow. In 1864, Lipton signed up as a humble cabin boy on a steamer running between Glasgow and Belfast. And Lipton was captivated by life aboard the ship, and he was enamoured by the stories told by fellow sailors who travelled to the United States. And it must have entered his heart. He had to go there. He eventually travelled to the United States, working at a tobacco plantation. He worked in accountancy and also in bookkeeping and at a rice plantation, and eventually as a door-to-door salesman in New Orleans. He was a farmhand in New Jersey and finally a grocer's assistant in the Big Apple, New York. All of these experiences prepared and equipped our young Lipton for his amazing entrepreneurial future. In 1869, around the age of 21, Thomas Lipton returned to Glasgow, and the rest, as they say, is history. Thomas began working initially for his parents in their humble greengrocer's store in Glasgow. But the following year he opened his first provisions store, which he called Lipton's Market, at 101 Stob Cross Street in Glasgow, Scotland. This enterprise proved to be successful, and Lipton soon established a chain of groceries, first across Glasgow and then the rest of Scotland. Eventually Lipton had stores right across Britain, around 300 in all. And while Lipton was expanding his empire, tea prices were falling and demand was growing among his middle-class customers for tea. Prior to this, because of its cost, tea was pretty well only available to those that were fairly wealthy or upper class. But Lipton, fresh from his sales and business experience in the US, was about to come up with an idea that would bring tea to the working class masses and establish a global, everyday practice that is still booming in most parts of the world today, the ubiquitous cup of tea. How many do you drink during the day? In the 1890s, recognising that tea was expensive, Thomas Lipton bought his own tea plantation in Ceylon, modern-day Sri Lanka, to bypass the middleman, bringing directly sourced cheaper tea to the masses through his 300 stores across Great Britain. It was a brilliant idea that was about to change the world as we know it. Where would we be without our cup of tea? Lipton popularised tea bags and was a pioneer in branding, focusing on consistency and quality. Sir Thomas Lipton died in 1931, aged 83. But the brand of tea that he created remains one of the world's most famous brands to this day. Just ask someone, what is Lipton? And they will tell you, it's tea. He died on the 2nd of October, 1931, and bequeathed the majority of his fortune to his native city of Glasgow. Sir Thomas Lipton was buried alongside his parents and siblings in Glasgow. He never married, so had no children, so his title was not carried forward with him when he died. And I guess Sir Thomas Lipton's greatest legacy is the enjoyment that a cup of tea gives to 500+ million people every day, and that's not something to take lightly. So next time you hold your cup of tea in your hand, think of Sir Thomas, and as you take your first sip, say, "Cheers, Thomas. Thank you for warming up my day." I'm off to Sri Lanka in a few days' time with 23 awesome people, and we might just get to see some of the original Lipton plantations that started it all. Yum yum. I love my cup of tea. This is Dave Palmer signing off from San Susie in Sydney, New South Wales.